The AG, Pam Bondi, stripping power away from the D.C. police chief, putting the DEA in charge for now. Also, she's ordering full police cooperation with federal immigration authorities. D.C.'s AG is now suing to stop the federal takeover of the D.C. Police Department, calling that move against the law.
Let's get a report now from our justice correspondent, David Spunt. He's live in Washington. Good morning, David.
Dana, Bill, good morning to you both on this Friday morning. A full-on power struggle here in the nation's capital. The D.C. government announced this lawsuit about an hour ago on the docket, suing the federal government, asking a district court judge to block the federal takeover. Expect this to quickly rise up the judicial ladder. But remember, D.C. is unique in that it's not a state. The lawsuit comes hours after the Attorney General announced, effective immediately, D.C. is no longer a sanctuary city, and the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration is the new interim police commissioner.
We've made 156 arrests, 27 firearms have been seized, child pornographic material has been seized, over 200 fentanyl pills taken off the street, a homicide suspect with a firearm, and we are going to protect D.C. and make it safe again.
Now, this is a picture of the new interim commissioner, Terry Cole, yesterday at D.C. Police headquarters, the building where he has an office right now and is working with D.C. Police Chief Pamela Smith and other senior staff. Now, as for Mayor Muriel Bowser, she said she was not given a heads up by the administration before President Trump federalized the police force on Monday, but she says she is and legally has to work with the administration because of the way D.C. is set up. As I said, it's not a state. Now, hours after Bondi said Terry Cole is in charge, Bowser pushed back, writing, "We have followed the law in reference to the U.S. Attorney General's order. There is no statute that conveys the district's personnel authority to a federal official." Now, this highlights the unique situation that Bowser finds herself in, the mayor of a city, but the way things are set up, the U.S. government can pretty much come in and take over, and that's what's happened here. But this will be up to a judge to decide. I will note that sources close to the Attorney General say despite the pushback here and there, she has respect for Mayor Bowser and Chief Smith. They have a good working relationship. We'll see, though, how long all of this continues given this lawsuit. And I do want to add no comment from the Justice Department on this recent lawsuit. Dana, Bill.
Thank you. And more on this with Fox News Sunday anchor Shannon Bream. And Shannon, obviously the mayor is doing what she needs to do, and there's always tension between local and federal governments. How do you think this lawsuit will proceed? While in the meantime, the laws of justice move a little bit more slowly than these arrests and the effects and some of the good feedback that they're getting in the district.
Yeah, Dana and Bill, there had been this appearance of cooperation between the local officials and the feds who were coming to their assistance, as the Fed said, as the White House said. The local police commissioner here in D.C. was saying things like it's positive for us to have more law enforcement out on the streets. But the breaking point came with that action by Attorney General Bondi last night. So this lawsuit that David was talking about, I think he's right, it'll move very quickly. And it not only says that there were procedurally things that were done wrong, but it gets to the substance, saying that the president just has no power to do what he's doing. So the streets seem a little bit quieter right now. We'll see how long this lasts and how quickly that court battle moves.
Yeah, it seems like the mayor's gone a bit back and forth. At one time she was supportive, and then another time was not. Here's what she said on X last night to the AG Bondi. She said, "Let us be clear about what the law requires during a presidential declared emergency. It requires the mayor of Washington, D.C. to provide the services of the Metropolitan Police Department for federal purposes at the request of the president. We have followed the law. In reference to the U.S. AG's order, there is no statute that conveys the district's personnel authority to a federal official." You understand that as well as anybody. And you just touched on, too, like what you're seeing in the streets. This is an individual whose husband was shot and killed.
When you hear from city leaders and others that crime is actually down, are you seeing that?
No, I'm not seeing it. We're seeing carjackings, the violence in the communities. So we were advocating then for the National Guard to come out, but they said there was no need. But think about how many lives could have been saved just having them on the scene.
You live there, Shannon, you know as well as anybody. Dana used to live there for a number of years. It's broken up essentially into 4 different quadrants. And the Northwest Quadrant is where most people of influence live. Lawmakers, lobbyists, journalists. And when the crime started going to that part of Washington, D.C., it struck me as a point where it needed attention. And now it's getting it. We'll see the results. Go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah, and there have been really high-profile cases in recent months and the last couple of years. Remember the K Street shooting, in which a man who was going into his office there, a very well-respected U.S. attorney who was there to pick up his wife from work, was shot and carjacked there in the middle of the day in D.C. So you're right. I mean, people hear about cases like that and get your attention. And there are parts of the city, like any city, you are careful about what times, whether you go alone and where you are. So you got to be careful like you do in any big city. And there are residents here who say, we've been asking for this help, as you heard from the woman there. Unfortunately, her husband a victim and her a victim of what's happened here. And there do seem to be a lot of people who are happy that there are folks here out on the streets, and we'll see how it goes. There are protests as well. No doubt about that, but it may be up to the courts to decide if this continues.
Shannon, there's obviously a big summit going on with President Trump and Putin today, and you have a very interesting guest coming up on Fox News Sunday.
We do. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is going to be with us. You know, he's had several face-to-face meetings with President Putin, so he's going to give us the breakdown, the inside scoop following their meeting in Alaska. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait for that joint presser afterwards. If they haven't, I think they've made progress. If they don't, you know, the White House has said they're willing to walk away. So Steve Witkoff among our guests for Sunday.
Good deal. Thank you, Shannon. We'll be watching.
Okay, we'll be watching.
Nice to
Hey,
see
guys.
you. Thanks.
Take care.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.